Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 9th, the month is January, and the year is 2026. Welcome to yet another edition of The Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motonoa. Normally wouldn't start off an episode with well wishes, but I will say this. We don't really like to do well wishes on this show. It's not really in the nature. But I will say this. Hey, Americans, what's up? What's up, my fellow American brothers and sisters and they-themsters? I hope you're doing all right this week. It's a lot of news happening this week. A lot of stuff coming across our desks. It's like seemingly every single time that you open up social media or, wherever it is that you consume information. Seems like every time we're checking our phones, it's something else. It's a woman killed in Minnesota for seemingly unknown reasons. I'm laughing. I don't know why I laugh. That's not... I guess maybe the absurdity of the timeline is maybe funny, but it's not funny what happened in that video. And in real life, by the way. It happened in real life. Or you're hearing about whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. I just hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you guys are processing everything okay. I hope you guys are not feeding into the information warfare that is happening right now. Just try to, I don't want to say stay out of it. No, it's important to stay motivated. I was going to say moralized. I don't think that's a word. It's important not to get, demoralized, of course. No, anyways. Alrighty, folks. Big medium show for you guys today. No, let's start here. Biggest news that, I spend the first minute of the show being like, hey, a lot of stuff going on in America. You know what the craziest thing that happened in America was this week? The biggest thing that happened in America this week that literally nobody cares about. Trae Young was traded to the Wizards. And I don't know if anybody cares. Does anybody care? Do you at home care? If you're not a Wizards fan and you're not a Hawks fan and there's emotional attachment, with the goodbye, although at this point I think everybody's just kind of like, is that so if the first take is, does anybody really care that this happened? And we'll unpack that in a second. I'm not just, saying that just to, for the shock value, for the, oh man, who cares about this? No, we'll unpack maybe why in just a second. But I don't know. The other piece of this is like, if you're a Hawks fan, what are the emotions right now? Well, I don't know. He was a special player, man. He really was a special player for them. Coming out of Oklahoma, if my memory's right on this, and I think it is, no, it's not. It's wrong. It's fiction. I made it up. What I was going to say was I'm pretty sure the year that Denzel Valentine was supposed to win the Wooden Award in college basketball was the same year that he didn't win because of Trae Young. It's fiction. I made it up. It was an Oklahoma guard. It was Buddy Hield, I think. I'm not going to look that up because I know that I'm right. Buddy Hield won the Wooden Award. It was supposed to be Denzel Valentine. It was not. Denzel Valentine very famously had a triple-double on Valentine's Day. I mean, that's kind of just what you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. It's either if your last name is Valentine, you either got to give me a triple-double on Valentine's Day or you got to give me like 50, I mean, in college, what's 50 in college, do you think? It's not 30. I think it's 40. If a guy gets to 40 in college basketball, it's fucking shocking. 30 is pretty crazy, but 40 is a completely different stratosphere. I could not tell you the last player, like real player, if I go D3, Montana State, A&M, fucking Central Western, yeah, there's probably some cat who scored 110 points on like 9 threes. You can hit me with that if you want. But like a real player for a real school in college basketball that had 50, I mean, I'm sure if one of you in the comments leaves it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, that did happen. Nothing comes to mind immediately because that's an untouched pantheon, scoring. Remember that guy? The name that comes to mind is Jack Taylor. I don't think that's right. Didn't he score like 138 points? I mean, I was in high school. I was like my freshman year of high school when this happened. It's like 138 points from that guy. Can I look this up really quick? I know this is supposed to be about Trae Young. I'm going to make this as quick as I can. Jack Taylor. I'm just going to look up Jack Taylor 138. Fucking bang! Bang! Nailed that shit. Are you kidding me? Jack Taylor scored 138 points in 2012. In 2012, I was a freshman in high school. I was sitting in my U.S. history class, and the teacher made us watch a whole feature about it on whatever little news agency thing that he would like to, whatever programming it was that he'd like to show us. Jack Taylor. So where am I going with this? You know who else raised a lot of eyebrows in college? Trae Young. That's where I was going with this. Trae Young at Oklahoma was a wagon, man. That was a force to be reckoned with. And the hype with Trae Young coming out of college was basically just that he was Steph 2.0. That's literally all that it was. That was the only thing that people wanted to talk about, was that he was an undersized guard who could pull up from the logo. And motherfucker, did he ever when he was at Oklahoma, like he for real did. And so, he gets drafted, and I mean, from the jump, like immediately, a narrative is sparked between him and Luka Doncic. I'm not going to go over the whole draft history of Luka and Trae and them getting traded for each other and blah, 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 but that did happen. And so from day one, these two players, these two supremely talented players, are being pitted against one another. Now, within the last 365 days, it is worth noting, both of those players have now been traded. Spends a few years with Atlanta. I mean, a few years. He's been there for a damn near decade at this point. Was it 8 years that Trae's been with Atlanta? It's crazy that it's been that long. You know, we watched that guy's beard connect. And you watch this guy play, 2-3 playoff appearances? I feel like they're in the play-in every year. There's no way that's true. I think they were last year, but otherwise I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. They make the playoffs a couple times. They made it to Eastern Conference Finals, most importantly, right? That was the sort of the cherry of the Trae residency in Atlanta, was that they made an Eastern Conference Finals appearance against the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. And then they lost. Now, if you're a Hawks fan, I don't know, are Hawks fans still earnestly doing this? Do you remember when Trae stepped on the ref and he twisted his ankle? I'd be honest with you, I don't remember. Did he miss a game? Did he miss 2 games? Did he miss the rest of the series? I don't really remember off the top of my head. I remember the Brooklyn series way more than I remember the Atlanta series, other than literally just that happening. Are Hawks fans still doing that? Are they like, well, if Trae didn't step on a ref, is that still a thing? I literally have no idea. I don't know. Is that still a thing? But outside of that, and the important note on that, and it's not just that he made the playoffs a couple times or that he made an Eastern Conference Finals run. It's not just that in a vacuum, because you have to zoom out on it a little bit, because that's not. He did it with no All-Star teammates. Any success that Atlanta ever saw under this Trae Young regime, he never had an All-Star teammate when they actually were doing anything meaningful in the playoffs. Well, otherwise, who would have been an All-Star teammate that he had? Who am I not thinking of? Okongwu was not making All-Star games. DeAndre Hunter wasn't making All-Star games. Who am I not thinking of? The biggest, I don't know what the take here is, but there's something in here. Let's go fishing. Let's go mining for a take here. Trae Young, his resilience, I don't think, if you're a Wizards fan, I don't think his resilience can ever be questioned, because Trae Young lived through the single darkest era of Atlanta Hawks, potentially the darkest era of any NBA basketball franchise ever, which was wearing those fucking horrible red and neon checkered Atlanta Hawks. That rebrand that they did for a couple of years was abominable. And I'm so glad that they've come to their senses and they've reverted back to, I guess, a more traditional colorway. I guess maybe the Paul Millsap Hawks were that was the sort of new modern spin. I guess maybe we have sort of gone back to old ways. No, it's brilliant, because the neon thing that they were doing was absolutely terrible. But Trae Young stuck through it, and he did not demand a trade, despite the fact that he had to wear those terrible uniforms for a couple of years. Look, man, I say no one cares. I say no one cares that Trae Young was traded. First of all, imagine this, Wizards fans. The Wizards, by the way, who, for all of the mean things that people are saying about Trae Young right now, nobody wants to play with him and he doesn't play defense. Well, both of those things might be true, but it's still not a nice thing to say. It's not a nice thing if you're that person on the receiving end of those comments. It's not a nice thing to hear, right? All that stuff can be true. Bro, but the Wizards just flipped a paperclip into a mansion, son, into a damn Lamborghini. This is only a win for them. What was the final trade? It was CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I'm dusting my hands. One of those guys went to Gonzaga and he can fuck off forever. Are you kidding me? Kispert's not bad. But you know what I mean? Huh? CJ McCollum, the former president of the Players Association. Most notably, during CJ McCollum's tenure, he was the one it was under his watch that this second apron CBA bullshit ended up coming to pass. And the irony in that is that very thing. It is the second apron that made it a reality that Trae Young doesn't get moved for anything other than CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. 3 years ago, if I told you, do you have to go back that far? I have no idea. However many years, pick a spot in the timeline that you want to pick. 6 months ago, before the season started. If I told you Trae Young's going to get traded 6 months ago, you'd be like, that makes sense. Sometimes you just break up with a player, and it's the most amicable that a breakup could possibly be, and it's not ugly, and no feelings are hurt, and it just kind of is what it is. In the NBA, I guess maybe that's a rare instance, but I guess, maybe we are in sort of rarefied air there. But no, they just kind of were like, all right, we've run our course with the Trae thing. And Trae was like, I've kind of run my course with the Atlanta thing. It's just kind of time to go do something else. And sorry, I derailed myself. I don't remember where I was going with that. But if you're Washington, You know what I mean? Like, right, I was doing the second apron thing and how Washington had even ended up with him in the first place for no picks. There's no capital that was moved in this at all. There were flutters that were, popping around like for the last, when did this Trae stuff come out? Like over the weekend maybe. So we'll say a week. We'll just say a week since we knew, okay, Trae's kind of on the block and it sounds like he might go somewhere. We knew that because he's making $50 million and he has a player option and all this stuff that like, this goes back to the second apron thing. Like, Atlanta didn't have a ton of flexibility to move a bunch of stuff, and then Washington, I don't know. What am I talking about here? Because Washington wouldn't be in an apron. I don't know, but it's so much harder to trade for these contracts with the restrictions and the limitations that come with, going into the first apron, or God forbid, you're a repeat offender and you go into the second apron. And so the ipso facto, I didn't do a good job of explaining it. That's how Trae gets moved for parts. I mean, for literally nothing, because he's viewed as a negative asset. And there's a difference between being a negative asset and a distressed asset, because you can be a distressed asset and still be really damn good. Guy gets really mad. Like Cam Thomas is sort of the interesting in between, where it's like, actually you're not. You're a medium asset. He's just medium asset, medium distressed asset. Actually, I guess I don't really know why I brought Cam Thomas up. I'm just trying to think of a guy. Like James Harden in the past is a perfect example of this. Like trading for James Harden is not a bad idea. You could say it's gone poorly for some teams in the past, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't an inherently bad idea to make a move for him in the first place if you're Brooklyn or if you're Philadelphia. It's circumstances that in a lot of ways are beyond your control, in some cases, I should say, that ended up sort of being the demise of the whole thing. Well, through all of that, through Houston, through Brooklyn, through Philadelphia, through whatever, through Oklahoma City even, James Harden was a distressed asset. He was not a bad asset. Trae Young is at a point, and this is where we go back to, all the smart basketball people out there. You listen to these podcasts, you watch this short form content, and all the people say the same thing about Trae Young, where it's like, as good as he is offensively, he's that bad, if not worse, defensively. And the other thing that I mentioned is that apparently nobody wants to play with him. Now, I don't know that that's true, but again, if smart people are saying it, then, well, I guess they've heard some things, and I guess maybe that's true. Now, if you're Washington in this instance, again, this is only a win. Now, Wizards fans are kind of spinning this. I got to throw a flag on the play. Let's go to VAR real quick. I've seen Wizards fans on Reddit starting to spin this as like, oh, we got another guy who like wants to be here. Like he requested, like, let's go to Washington, And the other guy that they were talking about was Alex Sarr. Well, Alex Sarr didn't want to go to Atlanta. I don't remember why, but I don't think it had anything to do with Washington as the District of Columbia as a city. I don't think it had anything to do with that. Trae Young doesn't want to be in Washington because he loves the Washington Monument or the Lincoln Memorial Washington Monument. Yeah, I got that right. And, he wants to go sightseeing in D.C. He doesn't give a shit about the District of Columbia. He cares that Travis Schlenk is in the building. What is he, the VP of Personnel for the Wizards now? Travis Schlenk was the GM of the Hawks that drafted Trae Young in the first place. These guys maintain relationships. Like, in so many ways, like, more often than not, when you see guys get traded, when you see guys go to other teams in free agency, it has nothing to do, well, of course it has to do with money, but, like, a lot of the times, without us even knowing, it's because that player has an existing relationship with somebody within that organization. That's what's happening here. Trae Young doesn't give a shit about the Wizards. He doesn't care about Washington, or he doesn't care about any of that. He cares that one of his guys is in this building, and that guy in that building wants Trae to come there. So he's like, all right, cool, sign me up. I got a player option coming up this summer, right? And so does he opt out of that? And they kind of restructure. They put a bow on it. They do something nice, and they say, let's just clean slate this whole thing. Or if you're Trae Young, you're like, fuck that, son. Like, give me my bread. So if you're the Wizards right now, I really think that this was the most perfect buy low. Like, there's pretty much what's the risk? What is the inherited risk of taking on Trae Young? Should I do this really quick? Let me pull this up really quick, just because I don't want to. If I'm going to do this, then I think it's important that I get it right. Because if you're the Wizards right now, a team that, out of all the bad teams in the NBA, I think the Wizards are comfortably, not anymore. I was going to say they're comfortably the best out of all the bad teams. Charlotte. I hate to say that it's probably the Hornets, but I think it has to be. Because I don't think, do I mean this? I'm doing like 8 things right now, so I got to figure out which one I want to do. Do I think Con Knippel, if he was on the Wizards, that he'd be the best player? Well, now that Trae Young's there, yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure. I don't know. They didn't beat the Thunder. The Wizards didn't beat the Thunder, unless I missed that and it happened earlier this season. I'm just not thinking about it. Well, the Hornets just did. And everybody was playing. For the Thunder, I should say. They just did. Miles has been really good this year. I don't know. I really, really like Con Knipple. Let's go back to what I was trying to do, though. I was trying to look up Trae Young's contract. And, of course, I didn't look up the right thing. This is gone. It's unknowable. It's unknowable what his contract is. Pretty sure. So, right, that's what I was trying to do. Is I was trying to say, like, what is the perceived negative of Trae? What's the risk involved in trading for Trae Young? I guess I can pull this. Let's try one more time to pull some shit up. Fuck, now it's on the Jack Taylor page because I tried to go back. I want to see, I'm 3 months older than Trae Young. Because he plays games, right? That's what I'm looking at here. He plays games. I can't think of like a major injury that he's had. Yeah, he does. So this is going back to his, so 18-19 was his first season. And this is going back to then. So this is games played total. 81, 60, 63, 76, 73, 54, 76. And then this season he's at just 10. And they've played like 100 damn games already this season. So that's not great, Bob. But, no, I don't know. Because if you're Washington, dude, you just got that guy's going to score 100 points on the Wizards. He's going to score 100 points. Now, if you look at the Wizards roster at this point, and I guess maybe we'll go up and down, what's going on with Chris Middleton? Has nothing to do with anything. I'm just curious. What's the deal with him? Is the plan still after the trade deadline, because no one's going to trade for him, to be insane, and he gets bought out by the Wizards? He's a buyout guy, right? That's 100% how this is going to go? What am I missing about the Wizards? I'm genuinely asking because I really don't know. So if we look up and down the Wizards roster right now, and you have to add Trae Young into all of this, Bub Carrington, people like Bub Carrington. Is Bub Carrington the one that was the victim of, I don't know what the number is. It's like through their first 100 career games, like the worst plus minus in the history of the NBA. It was him or Bilal Coulibaly. I don't remember which one it was. And that's another guy on this team, Bilal Coulibaly, who I really, really like. I wish he got more run on the French national team during the Olympics, a year and a half ago. But the guy was, 18 when that happened? But was he maybe 19? I guess I can click this right here. How old is Bilal Coulibaly at this point? It doesn't say. It's unknowable. He's averaging 10.5 a game this year. Bilal Coulibaly's averaging 10.5 a game. He averaged 12 last year. That's not true. Whoa, that's not true. There's literally zero chance that Bilal Coulibaly averaged 12 points a game last year. That's not true. How many games did he play? 59? It's like the whole season. Minus 32 games. That's like the whole season. No way. That's crazy. He started, every single game that Coulibaly played last year, he started. This year, it makes sense. Like, this year, I'm like, yeah, that's a real NBA player. Like, that makes complete sense. That's shocking. I'm learning things about a guy that he's turning 22 this year. I don't know anything about this guy, apparently. A guy who I started this by being like, I really, really like him. I like the way that he plays. I know nothing about him. I'm learning things on the fly. I know nothing about him. So if we go back to the Wizards roster, Bagley, what's he been doing this year? So this segment is apparently going to turn into, I don't watch the Wizards, and I'm going to check in to see how all of their players are doing this year. Is he playing games? He's played 31 games this year. Bagley's played 31 games this year. He's averaging 10 and 5? Yeah. That's Bagley. That's him. I really believe this, man. Like, unless, I've said this before, but unless you're a Kings fan, I just think your takeaway of the Marvin Bagley experience when he's on your team is like, okay, like, yeah, like there's a little something there. If you have a guard like Trae Young, honestly, this really works. If you have a guard who's dynamic in space and can run the floor and do the little trailer dump-offs to Marvin Bagley, he's going to yam something that's going to make you gasp. I really, really like Marvin Bagley, and I'm so glad that it's worked for him. I mean, he's been on, what is this, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 4 teams now? 4 teams now? Yeah, I guess that's... What's the take here? What am I supposed to say? I just like that he's had a career. I really do, man. I think he's, drafted in 2018 actually we talk about, if his first year was, wow, whoa, bang, unnecessary Mike Breen bang. I'm not banging anything here. If we talk about the Luka and Trae piece of this whole thing and how they were the same draft class and they got traded for each other and people try to I don't want to say manufacture a rivalry because there was sort of like but now at this point that's completely gone. In the USA versus World Rising Stars, they had some really cute moments together and nah, that's not a thing that's not going to happen. But that's right. So the Kings passed on Luka because Vlade Divac had a problem with Luka's dad. And they instead decided, which is true, verifiably true by me. And they instead decided to draft Marvin Bagley. Wow, that's funny how that works out. And now, well, I mean, what's funny about it? Well, that Trae and Bagley are on the same team. I guess it would have been funnier if it was Luka and Bagley that ended up on the same team. But just that they were all involved in the same class, I guess, is interesting. So why don't I, instead of just, continuing to go down the Wizards roster and just being like, whoa, this guy's good this year, instead, why don't I just kill that? Why don't we just not do that anymore? I say nobody cares about this. I say nobody cares. You see, because, what was your reaction, honestly? Again, you're not a Wizards fan. You're not a Hawks fan. You can't be either of those. You're excluded from this conversation, okay? It's like, I swear to God, this is what it was. I saw the notification, and I went, huh. And I kept going on with my day. That was kind of it. From the time between, hey, this might happen. He might get traded, and then shortly thereafter, we heard his preferred destination is the Wizards. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. But again, just going back to the stuff I said earlier, it's like, yeah, sometimes teams break up with their stars or vice versa, or it's amicable and they mutually agree to part ways. And it just kind of is what it is. And you break up. Even if it feels like it's uncommon in the NBA, it happens. And it happens more broadly in professional sports. So you see it and you kind of like, oh, wow, maybe you send a few texts to some people about it and you talk about it and you're like, ooh, what's the trade going to be? And I wonder and blah, blah, blah. But pretty much immediately we heard that CJ McCollum was basically going to be the trade. Basically going to be it. Whatever else is attached to it. I guess that's not true. We did hear originally, because of the, how bloated Trae's contract is, we did hear originally that there may be capital attached on Atlanta's side. Sending whatever it would have been, 4 seconds or whatever the hell it would have been. That's way too many seconds, but I literally don't know. None of us know how this works. Anybody who thinks they understand how NBA trades work at this point, I think is a fucking idiot and they shouldn't be trusted, because nonsense happens all the time, right? This is crazy in a vacuum. This is super duper crazy. So I don't know, you kind of, you hear that, you're like, wow, again, you send some text about it. And then it's only a couple days. What was it? 4 or 5 days in between the rumors starting and really heating up to when the trade actually happened. So, they clearly were motivated to make this happen. And they, I don't know, man. I guess maybe I'm saying this out loud. Not to steer off the road of the who cares thing again, but how desperate do you think Atlanta was to just fucking get over it, man? And to just get out of this relationship that they were like, yeah, CJ and Corey Kispert is fine. It's fine. You know how many GMs in the NBA would have strong-armed the hell out of that deal? And because of how talented Trae Young is, they would have just, I guess Atlanta's like, we have Jalen Johnson. This is our guy, and we're just going to try this, and then maybe we'll just re-roll and we'll get a guard in the summer. Because there's going to be a lot of them available, especially in the draft. There are going to be some really good players. So, I don't know, man. Who cares, right? Who cares is what they're saying. Well, I got to be honest here, man. I care in the sense that it's an interesting trade, and I think it's interesting that the Wizards went out and did something. I really genuinely find that interesting that a team that was otherwise at the bottom of the barrel was sort of given the fact that they hired Travis Schlenk that's what you do it for, is for something like this, where if they hired literally any other guy to be the VP of personnel who otherwise didn't have a relationship with Trae Young, this likely doesn't materialize. And the team now, obviously, if Travis Schlenk went and worked for the Warriors and he was the VP of personnel there, well, the Warriors aren't going to trade for a point guard. In that instance, he could, there are worlds where he could still end up on the Wizards, but it is something like that is so uniquely specific it's just how you kind of end up with it. And so for the Wizards, it's wow, fantastic business by us, great luck by us on our side. Because the downside of this is what? You're the same fucking team and you still stink. And you're paying one guy a lot of money. But if for some reason he opts out, which I don't imagine why he would, unless the opt out, he's prioritizing years, which on his contract is over the money, which at this point in his life, he's my age. He's 3 months older than me, or younger than me. 3 months younger than me, ladies and gentlemen. My beard connected years before Trae Young's did, and we're the same age. No, I don't know. You're fucking whatever. Just who cares? We're not giving up anything. Corey Kispert's a good player. CJ McCollum, an impeccable veteran, a career knockdown shooter. But it's Trae Young, I mean, the offensive output that those two players, I don't need to explain this. I know you all know, right? But, okay, so the Wizards did great business. I care about that. And just a breakup happening, right? So when I say that nobody cares, I don't mean that nobody cares. I mean, they're not really paying it any mind, and they're just kind of oh yeah, it's a thing that happened. It's a thing that happened in the NBA. I'm going somewhere with this, and we've arrived at the point, okay? I see this come across my desk today. First take on this morning, the day I'm taping this, Thursday morning. Stephen A. Smith is at the desk with, I think it was Orlovsky, and was it maybe Ryan Clark? And then whoever that Molly's not there anymore. I don't know who the moderator is for First Take anymore. She starts going off about, she starts talking about, that she just sets up the segment. The Wizards just traded for Trae Young and blah, blah, blah. And she's saying all this stuff. And Stephen A. just goes, who cares? It's the Wizards. Who cares? I don't care about the Wizards. Oh, fuck me. Here we fucking go with this bullshit again. Listen. I'm not the guy to communicate. People have been doing this for 2 damn years at this point. I'm not the guy to communicate like, hey, NBA, if you're so mad, where is this point coming from? Oh, that's right. You know what? I got to veer credit. This isn't technically my point. I was listening to Bill Simmons talk to Kurt Goldsberry the other day. They did a pod together, and Bill had a point in there. He said it in passing, and I completely agree with him. He said this. He said, if you're the NBA and you're pissed off about the way that these networks cover your sport, then stop fucking giving them money. Then stop paying them if you're dissatisfied with you know what I mean? Because what we've seen is the NBA, not vote with their wallets, but like they sort of make those decisions. Look, NBC's been great this year. They've taken it very seriously. There's a perfect amount of little silliness in there, but they take it seriously. It's real, thorough analysis. I would Control-C, Control-V over to Amazon on Prime. Their coverage of the NBA has pretty much been the exact same. Like, par for the course. This is great. This is thorough, thoughtful analysis. This is real. And you're not just Shaq, who we all love. Everybody loves Shaq. Everybody loves Inside the NBA. But when it's halftime, when it's pregame, when it's postgame, and all you're doing is talking about how this product sucks, and this player sucks, and ooh, he doesn't have any rings, and Chuck, you're fat as fuck. Well, that part's just always going to be funny. But you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, and I don't know what they're saying on ESPN these days, the Inside the NBA guys. I haven't watched that shit literally all year. I haven't seen a single clip from their ESPN studios. No, I don't know. I see the Stephen A. Smith thing. It just pissed me off. I don't care about the Wizards either, bro, but like, it's Trae Young. I just think it matters, and it just bothered me to see Stephen A. Smith kind of... I'm just like, aren't you sort of the guy who 15 years ago, when he and Skip Bayless were just on a rocket, I really feel like he championed like emotion, and he championed the idea of like, just conceptually, like, caring is cool. I don't think there was anybody on ESPN 15 years ago who like would display very visually and audibly like, nobody cares as much as I do. I really think that was Stephen A. Smith. And so maybe my assessment of it was wrong, because 15 years ago I was fucking 12 and I was super impressionable and all this stuff, and I just see this guy who's on TV every day and he's arguing and yelling at everybody, and I was like, I identified with that. I really wanted to be that, And so I don't know if this version of him that I have in my head from when I was a kid, like, I'm just so disappointed to see it these days. Now, some of you might be listening to this and be like, why do you, like, I didn't realize you cared this much about Stephen A. Smith. I really, that guy has been so, and I really think this is the case for more people than they would like to admit. But I really think that Stephen A. Smith was like the archetype was the architect for just the way that we, the modern sports debate and modern sports conversation. I put Stephen A. Smith in there. I would put Bill Simmons in there. I might put, I would put Mike Francesa in there. I want to put Bomani in there, but Bomani Jones's reach wasn't massive. First Take's reach was massive. What was Bomani Jones doing 15 years ago? Like around the horn? And then I don't know what else. It's probably something else. I just don't know what it was. These guys were just so crucial, and to see, it just pissed me off. It didn't bum me out. It pissed me off to see Stephen A. Smith on a major network, a network that showcases NBA games. You can't do that. I don't think you can say that. I don't think that you can be like, who fucking cares? I don't fucking, this just shit sucks. I don't care. The Wizards stink. I just don't think you can, man. Because if you want people to stop treating the NBA like it's a damn cartoon, like it's a circus, and you want people to stop having brain rot whenever they talk about the game in any capacity, you yourself have to be the change that you want to see in the world, and you have to set the standard, you have to set the example, and I don't think Stephen A. Smith does a good job of doing that, right? Because there are a lot of impressionable people out there, grown-ass men, I'm not just talking about like 13-year-old kids, you know what I mean? There are a lot of people out there who don't watch the games, and so whenever they're watching First Take, like that's where they get their takes, that's where they get their information, is from television, it's from breakouts, it's from social media, right? And so when you have one of the number one, like this is where I get my takes, like guys from, you know what I mean? Saying shit on television, being like, well, who cares about this? It's the Wizards, so they're a dumpster fire. I just think that stinks. I think that stinks. I think it's bad representation for the league. I think it's bad representation for you, for your own individual brand. Is it worse representation of an individual brand to say who cares about the Wizards after they traded for Trae Young? Is it worse for your personal brand to do that than to say, to go like full centrist? Did you guys see that? I don't want to do the whole thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get really fucking pissed off. I think Stephen A. Smith should get banned from Sirius. I don't think he should have a show on there. I think there are some people in the world, I'm not being funny when I say this. I think I might be included in this list. Like, I think some people should have their audio equipment taken away, and I don't think that they should be allowed to just talk about anything. You know, and I think Stephen A. Smith, I don't think he should be allowed to talk about anything. I don't know that he should. I don't know that he should, man, because the way that he's talked about this whole Minnesota thing, ICE murdering a woman in broad daylight, the way that he's covered this has been like centrism to the max. And I just don't know. Like we're witnessing Stephen A. Smith go on a full like Will Kane, like Nicki Minaj style arc. That's what we're seeing. I don't know if you guys have been seeing this from Nicki Minaj, but she's like she's pulling out all the bells and whistles and, you know, the song and dance for Trump right now. She went to like a Turning Point USA event where Erica Kirk came out with this. Did you guys? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm about to do this. Is this still going? It is still going. Okay, I'm going to leave all this in the show. If you're watching today's episode, the power just flickered, and that scared the shit out of me. I'm sorry. I'll get back onto this. This show is still, yes, it's still going. Okay. I hope that didn't mess with the audio. There's no way for me to know. I'm sorry. I just have to power through this and just hope that everything's okay. Yeah, Nicki Minaj went to damn Turning Point USA. Erica Kirk's got the sparklers are going. She's got the leather pants on. She's doing all this bullshit. My husband was killed. Yeah, Nicki Minaj is there and is shilling because she wants Trump to pardon her, her pedophile husband, brother? I don't know what it is. She's clearly she's fishing for something. So there's motivation there, right? So like Will Kane's motivation, I guess it was kind of always his brand. He denies this and he tries to walk out of it, but it's just what it was. This is how we all perceived him. Will Kane's presence on ESPN, and more specifically on First Take, was like that of the token conservative. You know, we needed one of those voices. You know, sports, I don't want to say sports is generally a very like liberal place, a very left-leaning place. That's not true at all. MMA, NASCAR, the NFL is a coin flip. It really just depends. It really could be either. I would say it leans right though. The NBA, I think, is more middle than people would agree. The point that I'm trying to make here, so Will Kane goes like full MAGA in, I don't know what year this would have been, and then that's just kind of what he does now. That's just kind of who he is. Like Will Kane, like be on Fox News these days. So there was like real motivation for him there because he would become ostracized from like the liberal viewers of ESPN. Everybody would just be like, hey, I think it's weird that you say racist shit about Colin Kaepernick. And then he was like, well, if I can't say racist shit about Colin Kaepernick on ESPN, I'm just going to go do it on Fox News. And so he went and did that, right? And so there was real motivation there because there was audience. That's where he was, that's where he was going. I don't know why Stephen A. Smith is doing this thing where he's like towing a line and trying to get people on, like, I don't know what it is. And you're going to tell me, well, Nick, what, a guy can't just feel something differently than you? And a guy, the minute that a guy feels or says something different from what you believe, he's a hack who shouldn't be able to talk into a microphone and he's clearly compromised? Well, no, but yeah, I mean, kind of, I don't know. I just think when a woman gets murdered and your take is like, well, she should have fucking listened to the police. I just think you're a fucking cop. I think you're federal as fuck. And I think it stinks. I think it stinks like poop. And I don't think, we said in the bingo sheet, we said in the last episode, we did a bingo sheet for 2026. And I said, Stephen A. Smith is going to say something that gets him in hot water, either on First Take or on his radio show on Sirius. And I said, there's going to be a departure between Stephen A. Smith and First Take. I think that they're going to turn the money hose off. If Stephen A. Smith ever, oh my God, I've never thought of this before. If Stephen A. Smith leaves First Take, I should have thought about this before I put it on the bingo sheet. Is that the show? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it over? Like, you can't do Around the Horn without those guys. Or I'm sorry, not Around the Horn, because Around the Horn was a constantly changing cast. PTI, you can't do PTI without Tony and Michael. You know what I mean? Like, I guess they do sometimes, like they have fill-ins, but like that's the show. And if either of those guys stepped away or died or something, like you would probably just end the show. I don't know that that's true. The formula just makes so much sense. First Take, I mean, conceptually, just like even if it was one of the first mainstream versions of its kind. Like all these different shows that you see on whatever network it is, all these sports podcasts that you see between three guys, right? And they're arguing, they're debating stuff. Like the genesis of that really was, in a lot of ways, First Take. They did not invent sports debate on television, but because they existed in the perfect pocket of time, like in its infancy, was when social media was really starting to blow up. Like it just kind of was the thing that everybody attached to, you know what I mean? And it's just been so supremely influential on not just American culture and the way that we talk about sports, but globally the way that people talk about sports. And so Stephen A. Smith will always have a hand in that. Skip Bayless will always have a hand in that. Even Will Cain will always have a hand in that. Max Kellerman will also always have a hand in that too. You know what I mean? So what else is there? Stephen A. Smith is a hack. Trae Young is a Washington Wizard. CJ McCollum is an Atlanta Hawk. Corey Kispert also an Atlanta Hawk. And what else is there for you guys today? I got to tell you this real quick. It's unknowable. I say real quick. We might spend an hour on this. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk about this in the last episode because we had so much stuff to get through. We had so much stuff that we had to talk about. I didn't get to say that I taped the last episode on the heels of turning the Pistons-Knicks game off a little bit early. As a treat, I turned the Pistons game off on NBC against the New York Knicks a little bit early. Because they were up by 1,000. They were up by 1,000. The Pistons murdered the Knicks. Not only did the Pistons murder the Knicks, by the way, they murdered them on the second night of a back-to-back, and they didn't have Jalen Duren. Oh, Nick, who are they playing in the first night of the back-to-back? Nobody special. Just the Cleveland Cavaliers with the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. And, I mean, one of the... How do I say this about Donovan Mitchell? One of the perennial, hottest hands in the NBA. You never know when that guy's going to catch, and when he does, it's fucking over for you. Yeah, beat that team. Dust our hands. Not really worried about the Cavs. Oh, and then who's that coming to... Oh, we got to travel. We got to go back to Detroit on Monday. Oh, okay. Well, who are we playing? Oh, fuck, it's the Knicks. Ugh, that's going to be physical. Wrong. It's fiction. I made it up. Pussies. Little babies. Try to play that game. They lost by 100 damn points. I spent the last however many months since the series, I can't wait to get a shot at the Knicks. I can't wait to play the Knicks again. And they didn't even give us a shot. Now, all I'm setting up, I'm setting myself up here whenever it is that the Pistons and the Knicks play again. They're going to play, 2 or 3 more times this season. Eventually, we're going to get a haymaker. We're going to lose by 15. And then it'll come back around on me, right? But right now it's not. And right now, the Pistons murdered the Knicks. And for all intents and purposes, I say this stuff about the Cavs. Not having a great season. Looks like they might have to figure some stuff out with, maybe Jared Allen. Beat them, though. Still beat them. I said I wasn't worried about them. Am I really not worried about them? No, not really. Not with the way that they're playing and the way that Detroit's playing. No, not really. The Knicks in a playoff series, am I actually worried about them? Yes. Murdered them, though. Great sign on the second night of a back-to-back. No Jalen Duren. No Tobias Harris either. He had another hip injury. Great sign. Love it. Right? The other team that we got to keep an eye on, though, if you're the Pistons, we were so mean to the Celtics in the first, 2 weeks of the season. Month of the season. We'll just say month of the season. Because we kept being like, you guys need to stop being so good or even a little bit good. Stop trying to be competitive with this team. Because they're rolling out Kada, who's actually been good this year, and Luka Garza and Walsh and these fucking, oh my God, what are they doing here? But because Jaylen Brown has been so good this year, they were able to stay in games. Jaylen Brown, amazing this season. They were able to stay in games, and now they're at a point where they're just playing well, and they're actually a good team. So now, and the reason I wanted them to be bad, or I just said, he's probably be bad, is stop being good, stop being competitive, is because this upcoming draft class is nuts. And you were basically given like it's not a get out of jail free card, but it's basically just like the hand from God reaching down and being like, hey, if you guys stink this year, like you're going to get a really good player. And then it'll even further maximize the championship window that you already have. Because the first 6 picks of this upcoming NBA draft are guys that could all be all-stars. You know what I mean? Really, really good players in this upcoming draft. Now, what's funny, just tangentially really quick, the flip side to what I'm talking about is Indiana. They lost their best player to the exact same injury, an Achilles rupture. And they just said, that's cool with us. We're going to be the worst team in the NBA. And on a lot of nights, it's going to seem like we're not even trying. The day that I'm taping this, it's January, and the Pacers have 6 wins. So, you know, they're going to cash in. But it makes a lot more sense for a team like Indiana to just do the gap year thing than it does for Boston. You compare the markets and you compare the history, blah, 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 blah. You do all this stuff, right? I guess it makes sense. But I admire the approach that Indiana has taken to this thing, even if in the end it may not be fruitful. And it's a little bit shameless, right? But hey, I respect it. No, the Celtics are a team that you have to worry about, especially because Jason Tatum's going to be back. He's coming back this year. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is not Aaron Rodgers like, ooh, I ruptured my Achilles and I'm going to be back in 3 months. This isn't that. This is real. He'll have had by the time he comes back, like 10, 11, 12 months to have recovered. He's already doing like real workouts where he's putting the ball on the hardwood. You know what I mean? So like this guy's coming. And if all Boston has to do is to be in like a not terribly compromised position by the time that Jason Tatum comes back, and they're going to go to the playoffs, and then suddenly this is a team that you actually have to reconcile with the reality that they may actually make some noise in the playoffs. So yes, I am a little concerned that Boston will pick up some steam. Now, it is important to say this. It's important to say this because I haven't in a while. We haven't done that. That's not true at all. What I'm about to say is not. It's literally not true at all. I was going to say we haven't done the trade thing in a while with Detroit. You know, will they or won't they dipping their toe in the water? The last time I would have talked to you guys about this would have been, I don't remember when it would have been, but I think I landed on no trade. We're officially team no trade. Don't touch this team. There's really no reason to do anything unless you're getting somebody for free the way that Washington just did Trae Young, but that seems unlikely. So where am I at now? I'm not just, the reason I think this update is important is because I'm not just team no trade. I'm like so staunchly in the camp of no trade that even if they end up with a guy like Michael Porter Jr. or they end up with a guy like Trey Murphy, or I don't know why, I don't think they're going to go get Herb Jones, but you know what I mean? Like a guy who's a real player, real player. I think I'm still going to be a little bit gutted over it because I just think right now, if you're Trajan Langdon, you're the president of ops for the Detroit Pistons. I just feel like, you know, not that he built this team. Troy Weaver built a majority of this team, and all of the good players are mostly, you know, Troy Weaver guys. Even Tobias, you're going to, you know, you would credit to Trajan Langdon, but that actually does go to Troy Weaver just because and it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I don't need to try to score points for Troy Weaver. He hasn't been the GM for 2 fucking years. I don't know why I'm still shilling for him. I just don't know why you would build this core up and then not see where it goes, you know? Because I believe 2 things can be true. One, young cores are made to be blown up. They're made to go and get the bigger fish. I believe that is true. You know, you're meant to draft super well so that you can trade all of those guys and get somebody fucking sick, you know, unless you're Oklahoma City, of course. Or even if you want to go back even further, Golden State didn't really do this either. They never really went and did the holy shit massive trade until we got to the back end of Steph's career. And then it was just kind of like, all right, we got to do whatever we can to, you know what I mean? But when they were at the height of their shit, they weren't trading. They were not doing massive trades. They opted against trading Klay Thompson, and in less than a year, that gave them a championship. So I just think if you're Detroit in this situation, you have Cade, you have Duran, you have Asar, you have Ron Holland, you have all these guys, right? I just think, like, why not see where it can go? Why fuck any of it up right now when you're the number 1 seed in the East? You're murdering teams in the paint, like killing teams in the paint on both ends of the floor. It's a war when teams play Detroit, you know? And so if you rip any of those guys away from the team and you sort of, I don't know, you fuck with the culture at all, I just think it's going to leave a bad taste in all of our mouths. I just think we're going to be like, I wonder what would have happened. I don't, like, look, they might lose in the first round. I don't know. They might win 1 series and then lose in the second round. But I want to see how it goes, you know, especially with Ivy in the mix. I really, really want to see how capable is this team now that they have a taste for the playoffs. They understand the pressures, the moments, the psychology of it, the physicality of it, and the synonyms of it. They understand everything that comes with being in the playoffs, right? And then you give them a season. You show them a taste of success where, like, dog, they're the 1 seed. I'm taping this on January 8th, and the Pistons still are in single-digit losses. Huh? So, yeah, I would be a little bit pissed off if in 2 weeks I get a notification that, I don't know, I'm just throwing guys out there, right? Tobias Harris and Isaiah Stewart and guys, like, just name guys. Yeah, I'm going to get traded for Michael Porter Jr. or something. Like, yeah, I'm going to kind of be, like, I'll be excited, but I'll be like, all right, well, fuck. You'll never know what you had, but you have it right now. And I just think, like, what are the odds that you're going to win a fucking championship this year? What player are you trading for right now that you're going to win a championship with? You think if you do, because the best case scenario is what? You're not getting Book. That's gone. It's dead. The ship has sailed. He makes way too much money. He decided, oh, I don't know if I want to be here. And he did the fucking, him and Myles Garrett, it's the Spider-Man pointing picture. Oh, I don't know if I want to be here. Yeah, unless they hand me $70 million a season. Oh, suddenly I want to be here. All right, well, fine. But that means that you're stuck there. Nobody will be able to, you're forsaken. Nobody will come save you, Devin Booker. You've made your bed. You can fucking sleep in it. And the Suns are good well, they're not good this year, but they're not terrible. Are they above 500 right now? They're a good team. They're not a bad team. Who's their coach? Jordan Ott? Really good coach. By all accounts, everybody seems to like him. So it's not Book. Is the best case scenario Lauri Markkanen? Maybe. Is the best case scenario Trey Murphy? Maybe. Is the best case scenario Michael Porter Jr.? Probably. It's probably that as long as he's playing games. Really seems like that might be the best case scenario with Detroit. Guy who can shoot the ball off the catch, movement shooter too. I would be curious to see what his... Yeah, he can shoot, whatever. He can shoot the ball off the dribble. Do they win you a championship, though? Do they? Because right now, that's just, I think, has to be the bar. I think if you're the Pistons, like, if we don't do anything right now, I think we're winning a series. Beyond that, I have no idea. It just depends on how the standings work out. But I think no matter who they play in round one, no matter where they are in the seeding, even if they plummet, right, they tank and they're like the 4th seed, 5 seed, by the time the playoffs come around, I really think no matter who it is, whoever they're up against, I think they'll be able to pull out a series. Unless somehow it's the Celtics, then I'd shit my pants a little bit. But if it's the Knicks again, I really think they can win that. I really think they can win that series. It's not going to be like it was on Monday, but I really think they can win that series. And then, beyond that, it's house money, and let's just kind of see where we can go with it. I really think that's all that it is, man. You just got to see how far this team can take you. And then you just got to figure out, like, okay, what didn't go well? Hey, that other guard that we have from a Big Ten school is bad, and maybe we should trade him for, let's flip our own paperclip into a mansion, Because I think this is another trade, honestly. I don't want to go back to the Trae Young thing, but, like, last February when the Luka trade happened, I think one of the takes I had in the episode that we did about it was, like, this has destroyed fake trades forever, because now, like, it's already hard enough when you come up with a fake trade and everybody in the world is like, this is so stupid, it wouldn't happen. Well, the truth is that most trades that happen in the NBA, on paper, you wouldn't have done the day before, and that you would have gotten banned on Twitter if you had posted, because they'd be so dumb. Well, when Luka Doncic gets traded for Anthony Davis, you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Nothing, and like basically nothing else. Like Max Christie, like nothing else. Okay, and the second round pick, I think. Or what, did Luka go with the second round? I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter. We were all like, okay, this isn't a real trade. Well, how about when Trae Young, a guy who, no matter how you feel about him, if you polled 100 NBA fans, is Trae a good player? If you weed out the fucking, the Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets of the world, who would be like, well, good is subjective, and what do you mean? Fucking shut up. Shut up, dork Jacob. Shut up, dork Jacob. Well, good is subjective. If you look at his fucking VORP, shut up. Shut up. So if you weed out those people, and out of the 100, there'd probably be 20. So if you polled 80 people, and you said, is Trae Young a good basketball player? Out of those 80 people, 65 of them are saying yes. Good player. It's a really, really good player. I just can't believe that it's happened this way. I feel like we did a decent job of communicating why things happened the way that they did. But the point is, Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum for Trae Young doesn't really seem like it has equal value. Doesn't really seem, but it does. It does when you peel back the layer. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I can't even believe that I'm saying that and I believe it, which I do. No, I don't. Totally, I don't. I mean, I don't think, like, really, you couldn't have given Atlanta a second? Is he that negative of an asset? That the idea of being strong-armed into surrendering any capital in this trade was a complete non-starter for the Wizards. Incredible business! Incredible business! If you're a Hawks fan, does that mean that your management did bad business? No. I don't think it does. Because I think what happened was Atlanta realized they needed to get out of the marriage, and it was a race to find the perfect suitor. Look, man, if Trae wants to go to Atlanta, to Washington, which obviously he did. We covered the Travis Schlenk thing. Then fucking let him. We've seen how this can go out. We talked about it already. I'm just repeating myself at this point. It's like you watch this unfold so often in the NBA, the soap opera that is the NBA. And you watch these divas fucking throw fits when they don't get to leave. When they have, and I give Trae credit for this. You know, I keep talking about his contract like he's on a 1-and-1. Like he has this year and a player option for next summer, like this upcoming summer. I really hope that that's true. I really hope that that's true. You see so many of these players demanding trades these days when they have years left on their deal, like years left on their deal. They'll sign a new extension. That's why free agency in so many ways has become obsolete, is because these guys will just sign like mega extensions. And then as soon as they pen it, they just request a trade. You know what I mean? And so I wonder if Atlanta was kind of trying to like avoid that whole mess. And they were like, look, I mean, this idea is in its infancy. I'm sure they've been planning on trading Trae for a while, but, you know. And honestly, maybe even behind the scenes, it was kind of a matter of, I don't believe that. No, I don't believe this has been going on for a while. I don't believe that on Christmas Day, anybody in the organization would have bet that he would be traded in like the first week of January. I don't think that's true. I really think this came together quickly. Which is as evidenced by what? My brain? Nothing. I just think we would have heard something about this. I just think we would have heard anybody say anything about this at any point. You know, of course, you always have like the random sort of third-rate like sites that'll peddle, you know, whatever. So I'm sure if I really racked my brain, there had been a rumor or two here, but nothing from anybody concrete. You know, nothing from anybody who has any real credibility. So I don't know. Trae Young is a Washington Wizard. Can you believe that, man? copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. Let's do this one. It's kind of like a cute, almost sort of feel-good style email here about a guy who I think it's just something that we can kind of all relate to, and maybe I'll give an anecdote or two at the end of it. So I think this one's fun. This one comes into us from Colin. Colin, welcome back to the show, brother. Subject line, I finally got to see Giannis play live, parenthetically, and he hit a game winner. Hi, Nick. Moderate time listener, second time emailer. I am from Milwaukee and went to the Bucks game on Friday, which was my first time seeing Giannis play live. You may ask, how the hell are you from Milwaukee but haven't seen Giannis play live? Which is a very fair question. While I follow the NBA and I love playing basketball, I have never been super into watching basketball games for whatever reason. As a result of that, I've only been to 5 Bucks games over the past 10 years or so, with the one on Friday being my 5th of the Giannis era. I was at the Deer District a few times during the finals run, of course, but haven't been in the stadium watching very often. Now, he includes, I'll trim the fat here a little bit, the previous 4 instances of him going to a Bucks game, and for one reason or another, Giannis was not playing in those games. Maybe he was injured, maybe he was resting, maybe it was the birth of his child. That was one of them here, which that one's valid, and Colin here says that is in fact valid, but I'll just trim the fat there. That's all that it is. It's always something when he tries to go to a Bucks game, and Giannis is never playing. So it's not for, lack of trying. He's tried. This is his 5th game, and he finally got to see him. But let's get back to the email. Fast forward to this year, with all the trade rumors swirling, and I'm starting to think I may never see him play live in a Bucks uniform. My family and I got tickets to the game on Friday, January 2nd, and I was hoping that he would recover from whatever calf strain he had in time. Fortunately for me, he did, and I finally got to watch him play. He dropped 30, 10, and 5, and hit the goddamned game winner against Charlotte. It was everything I could have expected from him, and insane to see in person how much attention he demands from the defense. Every time he touched the ball, a defender or two would crash towards him and help whoever was on him. When he was off the floor, the Bucks had quite literally no offensive production in the first half. You really realize the impact when watching these players play in person, and it was awesome. Another reason it was cool to be at that game in particular was to watch Con Knipple, who is also from the Milwaukee area. He played great and was the reason we almost lost the game. As it happens, my college roommate and his sister went to K-8 Catholic school with Con. Random useless fact. Con, quote unquote, allegedly had a crush on my roommate's sister way back in the day. Okay. I need to wrap this up as my flight is about to take off from a connection in O'Hare to San Diego for a vacation. Overall, that game was an awesome experience, and I definitely plan to get at least one more Bucks game this year since the future is uncertain for Giannis and this team. You include at the end here, obligatory sports take. Can I cut that for a second? Colin, this is a really cute email, and you seem like a really nice guy. Can I give you one of my biggest pet peeves? Everybody else. When you send in a sports email, the whole thing is about ball, and then you say at the end, obligatory sports take, that is reserved for the people who send in emails about Trump. You know, they send in emails about the laundry, some mundane thing. Anything that has nothing to do with sports is when at the end you say, oh, and hey, while I'm here, here's an obligatory sports take. When your whole, you know what I mean? All right. I'll still read it, brother. I'll still read it. But just for, let's just, all right. It gets me. Obligatory sports take. Ryan Rollins is a hooper. I'm so glad he decided to rob a gas station or whatever it was a couple of years ago, leading him to being cut from the Wizards. Right, so that's why I wanted to read this. That was well, that's not only why. I forgot that was at the end. It was a little nugget in there. I have no idea what this guy is talking about. So my plan was, when I read this on the show, was I was going to Google, and we were all going to find out live, what the fuck is he talking about? Because the more that I've thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I guess that kind of sounds like a headline that happened to an NBA player. But so we're going to look it up. So we're going to look up Ryan Rollins. What do I look up? Crime? Jail? Ryan Rollins crime. Should I look up felony? I don't know what to look up here. NBA player Ryan Rollins faced charges of 7 counts of petite larceny? Petit? Oh, is that petty larceny? Is that what's supposed to be just spelled like it's petit? I meant to say petite because there's no E, so I just said, now I sound like damn Turd Ferguson. I'll take 8 tip for 500. 7 counts of petite. God damn it! 7 counts of petty larceny in January 2024 for allegedly shoplifting groceries, body wash, and candles from a Target store in Virginia between September and November 2023. Whoa, wait a minute. Leading to his release from the Washington Wizards before he later joined the Milwaukee Bucks. He was accused of taking items valued under $1,000 in each incident and was scheduled for court hearings and has since found success with the Bucks. Yeah, that's the AI overview from Google. Wait a minute. So he stole groceries, body wash, candles, and small household items from a single Target store in Virginia. These events allegedly occurred on 7 separate occasions between September 9th and November 9th. Wait a minute. Okay, this is a whole different thing. So your email I'm about to make this a completely different thing. Really, really cool email. We all have that feeling of like, wow, finally I get to see the guy that I was always looking for. I hope I come back to this because I have so much that I want to say on this. I'm really happy that you had a good time. I'm happy you got to see Giannis. I'm so glad you got to spend time with your family and that you guys are going on vacation. That's amazing. I hope it's going great, brother. But we've kind of stumbled into something else here, and I'm sorry. I just need to take the ball and I need to do something else. But that's awesome. Okay. Is this one of those instances, if they, over a 2-month span, were able to sort of, is this like a loss prevention thing from Target? You've always heard this before. Maybe you haven't at home. But there's always been this anecdote out there about Target specifically where they will let you steal, and you can steal again, and you can steal again, and perhaps they'll even let you steal again. But once you steal an amount of once you steal enough money, oh my God, Nick, come on, man. You know what I mean? Once your total reaches a certain amount that they can see that you've stolen, they call around all these stores. Is that like retail misinformation? You know, you work at these stores and you hear other things about the way that other, stores sort of do their surveillance, and you've always heard that about Target, that they're really thorough with it. Because otherwise, how the fuck did he get caught? I really didn't know about this. To be honest with you, I really didn't know about this until you said it. Reading that, I don't remember that at all. Okay, so that's not real. If he robbed a gas station, there could be some cause for did he kill anybody? You know what I mean? But if he just robbed a gas station, I'm like, that's not good, but whatever, who cares? He stole body wash and like household items and like fucking razors, and who cares? We've all done that. I did that the other day. What did I steal the other day? I don't think I should say what it was. Well, it wasn't important. What was it? Well, clearly it wasn't important because it was it's Hot Wheels. It's like $1.30 too. So it's like the dumbest thing that I could have. No, that's right. I didn't even get to steal it because Maddie was totally. Oh, I got busted, man. I tried to steal some Hot Wheels from my kid the other day. Again, it's $1.30. That my grandma's not gonna think this is funny. Grandma, people steal. People steal. We don't like the man around here. We don't like to pay for things, and if it's something that I can steal, I have in the past. I don't do it anymore, Grandma. I don't do it anymore. But you may be thinking to yourself, Nick, it sounds like you tried to steal something the other day. Yeah, but I didn't because your granddaughter. How would that? Well, I guess she is. We're not married, but Maddie's her granddaughter. I got my spot got blown up. So what I did was I put Hot Wheels in like a tote bag that we had because when we go to the grocery store, we bring our own bags because in Chicago you have to otherwise pay for plastic bags, and so it's just easier to pay for or to bring your own tote bags. And so we were at Mariano's the other day, and we were just looking at baby food, and I saw a little Hot Wheel fixture, and I just grabbed the sickest fucking car that I could find, and I just put it in one of the tote bags, real casual. Like Maddie wasn't looking. I was like, whatever, she'll know the drill. And then when we got to the checkout line, she like dumped out the bag and the Hot Wheels fell out in the cart. And she scanned the fucking, what are you doing? Why are you scanning that? I'm trying to steal it for our kid. He's stolen a couple times too. Our kid has stolen a couple times too, but that's just like accident. Like he's a kid and he's just holding something while we're checking out. And we're all super, just massively overstimulated. And then we walk out and we realize that he's still holding the thing and we never scanned it. It's like, whatever, who cares? He's a baby. Literally, who cares? What's the most expensive? I stole, this was 2000. Is there a statute of limitations on stealing, on theft? Well, if I don't say where it was, then they can't get me. Is that how that works? That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. I just won't say where it was. Yeah, then that can't get it. That can't happen. And I can say the last story, you're like, well, Nick, you said you're at Mariano's. Well, I didn't steal it. I tried and I didn't. My betrothed undermined me. I didn't get to steal the Hot Wheels for my kid. Gave it to him like 2 days later. I completely forgot that I had it. Gave it to him like 2 days later, and he fucking didn't care about it at all. Okay, well, it was free. Well, it wasn't free. It was $1.30. Anyways, I stole Space Jam. This was like 2015, maybe. Stole the DVD. The heist that we did, and we stole a CD too with it. I don't remember. Oh my God, what a haul this was. I just remember what it was. Oh, we stole Space Jam on DVD, and if you're reading this, it's too late on CD. That's right, because it had just come out. So it was just, we went to the store, an unnamed store, and we stole both of those. But we were so dumb because we were kids and we didn't steal them the right way. We didn't just like put them in under our shirts or something. We went out. So the store that we were at, it's this big department store, like grocery store combination. And there's like a gardening section, and the gardening section is outside. There's like an outside portion, and the outside is connected to the parking lot, right? And so we took the movie and the CD, and we went to the outside part, and on the outside part of the fence, we just like you get what I'm saying? We just put the movie and the CD on the outside part of the fence. So that way, when we left the store, we would just go around to the gardening section on the outside, and it would just be right there, and we just pick it up, and we just fucking walk in the car. Don't know why we made it as hard as we had to. What else have I stolen? Man, my grandma's not going to think this is funny at all. Then I'll stop because I don't want to upset her. We all be stealing. We do it. This guy did it in the most like, yeah, man. Especially, I mean, it's funny, I guess, when to think about it in terms of he was on an NBA contract and he was still doing it. But stars, you know what I mean? They're just like us. They're people too. They're just like you and me at home. I guess do I want to think of what's the most valuable thing I ever stole? I mean, I got stories, man. I got so much. I love stealing. I used to love stealing. I don't love stealing anymore. I'm not a thief. I am not a kleptomaniac. I'm not Winona Ryder. Do I want to do a whole thing about Stranger Things? No, because the whole thing about Stranger Things would just be how relieved I am that I don't watch. Stopped watching after season 2, and I just feel so good to be free. It feels so good to be free from the thing that everybody else in culture is absorbed in and wrapped up in and talking about. And so everybody's like, oh, Will is gay. And I'm like, that's cool. The Knicks are on, bro. Shut up. I guess if I say it like that it's like, cool TV show, dork, and I give you a swirly. I give you a wedgie. I pull your underwear over your head. The game's on. I'm watching ball right now. Shut up, dork. Shut up, nerd. No, I don't know. People get so one way or another. People were upset about this season. I guess the conclusion people were satisfied with. I don't care. I really don't care. And this is why I kind of didn't want to do it, despite the fact that I'm, in the middle of doing it right now, which is like, what do I want the segment to be like? Isn't it so nice to not care about something that everybody else cares about? And then when they get mad about that thing, it's like, haha, babies. Well, it's nice that I don't care about that thing. Well, I don't want it to come off that way at all, but yeah, kind of that. It's just nice. It's just nice to not invest a bunch of time into something and then not be pissed off about it. Because we've all been on the flip side of that. We've all been on the flip side of it. I mean, some of you watching Stranger Things, I don't know, were you one of the people that got tricked into thinking that there was like a secret episode, like a secret last episode? I guess that was the whole thing. No, don't care. Don't care. I really think, I don't know if this is the problem of like the production companies or like the streamers or like the writers themselves. Like, I don't know whose fault it is that a lot of these shows take 2 years to come out with a new season, if not longer than that. I'm good. I'm gone. I'm not waiting now. I don't care that much about anything to wait 2 years to find out the conclusion to, like, you know what I mean? I don't care. Like, I guess with Game of Thrones, yeah, we did that. And how did that go, by the way? How did that work out? Were we satisfied in the end? Did they stick the triple backflip in the end, Game of Thrones? No. Suffice it to say they did not. Succession took, I think, like a year and a half or maybe 2 years between their third and fourth, which was the final season. But that was fine. I was going to be seated for that no matter what. So what's my point here? If I don't care about it, then I won't wait. Well, clearly there was something deeper seated about me not caring about Stranger Things. I don't know what it was. I think it was just a show that I was pissed off. That's right. I forgot. One of the reasons I stopped watching that show is because it was clear that they were going to do I thought they were going to do 4 seasons, honestly. I thought that was way too fucking many. I thought 2 would have been good. But again, I don't know. I didn't watch 3, 4, or 5. So maybe there's a bunch of reasons why, it makes sense that they, dragged it out as long as they did. House of the Dragon, that's another show on HBO right now that, is by the time that comes out will be 2 years again, I think, since the previous season. House of the Dragon season 2 was the most insane thing in the world because it was 8 episodes, we'll say, give or take. You spend 8 episodes being like, we're about to go to war. Shit, war's on the horizon. Every episode ends and you're like, oh, here comes the war. Here comes the war. And then the season finale ends with them going to war. Got it. Great. Thanks for that. So what was this for? So what was all this for? What was the thing that people were otherwise people were mad about in that season? Rhaenyra kissed a girl. Okay. Rhaenyra kissed a girl, and it seemed like it was kind of out of nowhere, but it just kind of happened. Was it like a stagehand or something? That she's stagehand. They didn't have fucking stagehands, and they're not doing a play. This is real life for them. I couldn't tell you. You go so long, and then it's just you don't know what's going on in these shows. But man, nobody's ever done it like Succession. It's the best show that's ever been made, that will ever be made. It's the best score that's ever been written, that's ever been performed by an orchestra. It's the best acting that's ever been acted on television. It's the best writing that's ever been put to print, and it's the most topical. I think it's stuff that for the rest of my life, I will always look back on and be like, yeah, this is the fucking best show, man. It's the best show. I love shows where nothing happens and people just talk. You guys got any shows for that? Spotify. You got any shows that are just dialogue that are good? I feel like I never watched Winning Time, that Lakers HBO series. I planned on getting around to it, and then it got canceled, and I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to watch something that got canceled because then I'm just going to get mad that there's no continuation. You know what I mean? I never watched that. I guess there would be stuff that happens in that. So that's not like, I don't know. Stuff happens in Succession. Kind of I mean, someone gets, I don't want to do spoilers, but I'd like to imagine anybody wanted to see the show has seen the show by now. I just feel bad if I start saying stuff and then somebody's in the middle of I'm going to do it. And I'm just letting you know if you're in the middle of watching Succession, by chance, to stop listening. End the show. It's over for you. a kid gets killed, but not like a child, like a 19-year-old kid, like whatever. He's doing a bunch of ketamine, like whatever, bro. Not to say that 19-year-olds who do ketamine deserve to get killed, but seemed like it was going to go that way for that kid. He dies. Kendall kills him, kinda. Well, not. I'm going to get too caught up in how I feel about the character to be. No, he killed him. He was responsible for that kid dying. What else happens? Like a thing that happens. I mean, Roman is, he gets like held hostage randomly by terrorists for like 20 minutes in an episode, and that plot line is never reintroduced. It just kind of happens and it's over. Like, but nothing happens. It just is sort of, it's all dialogue when that's happening. It's not even, Logan dies, but that whole sequence is dialogue. He dies off camera. So you know what I mean? You don't even know. Fuck, man. What happens in that show? Nothing. But it's the best show that's ever been made. So Spotify, what's a show? Give me some recs. What's a show where people just kind of, is Mad Men like that? I've always been interested in watching Mad Men. AMC had a run at the beginning of the 2010s where they were just Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, boom, 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 boom. Was Sons of Anarchy AMC? Did I even say AMC a second ago? Sons of Anarchy might have been like FX. I don't remember, but it might have been AMC. I don't remember. But at the very least, The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and Mad Men were all AMC, and they were all hits. I've always wanted to watch that. Is that a show where... No spoilers. I don't even want a fucking crumb. Don't tell me, well, kind of when you get to this season something happens. If you tell me that, I'm not going to watch it because I'm going to feel like I already know. I'm serious. Don't tell me anything. Unless it's the name of the show. All right? Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.